And are you refreshed? Good. Now what?
Good morning.
It is.
Thank you for reminding me of all the things I asked you to remind me of. In terms of relationship, there are many the areas of my life that I have a direct experience of enjoying the journey. The one that I still have a problem with is relationship, primary relationship. And I have a difficult time separating enjoying the journey to relationship when I feel that enjoying the relationship would be much easier.
Well, we understand that. People say things like that to us all the time. Give me what I want and then I'll have a good feeling response to it. And we say, it doesn't work that way. You have to muster somehow the good feeling response to your desire, and then the universe has to give it to you. And it was fun to hear your opening words, because you used words like the struggle is, and I have a problem. In other words, where you are in the stream is not where you want to be, and the words that you offered were all upstream. It's an interesting thing as we listen to most people talk about what they want, because almost every time they describe with precision and detail where they are in relationships. So what we just heard you say, and what the universe heard you say, and what you are broadcasting, and the vibration that you're offering, which is different from the vibration that's over here in vibrational escrow, is I don't have the relationship I want, and I can't find the relationship that I want, and it isn't likely that I can find the relationship that I want because it's hard. That's what you just said. And that's not the story that you want to tell. So many would say, well, but that's how it is. And it seems like telling it like it is worth something. And we say, it's worth staying where you are. You got to start telling a different story. But don't try to tell a whole different story all at once. In other words, if you were to say, oh, I found the perfect person and all is really well for me, that would be upstream too, because that just feels like a bald-faced lie. It feels like utter deception. You've got to find a way to soften the discomfort of that. What we usually tell people who are looking for money is try to take money out of the equation. And if you're looking for a relationship, we try to get them to take the relationship out of the equation by saying, you know, every time you've been in a bad relationship, you've added to what you want in a relationship. Every time you've been lonely without someone, you've added to what you want. And so there is such a wonderful relationship that's already vibrationally formed up there. And if you could just try to sniff it out, if you could just every now and again try to catch a glimpse of what's waiting. After the fact, it's fun to look back as Jerry and Esther bask in the deliciousness of their relationship, and now from what they understand about vibrational escrow, they can see, and sometimes they even talk about it, how different aspects of their life and relationships with other people cause them to put the pieces that now they see in each other over there in vibrational escrow.
Yes.
In other words, things that were missing in others that they wanted are present in the relationship that they have. It's not just that the relationship that's forming in vibrational escrow was about the two people wanting to find somebody else to be with. It was about their life's work. It was about their feeling of uplifting of humanity. It was like their relationship with the earth and the planet. It was their relationship with source. In other words, so many of the things that life was causing them to want, so both of them over there in vibrational escrow, their future selves were in vibrational escrow. You getting the picture of this?
Yes.
Jerry's rockets of desires created a relationship with someone. Esther's rockets of desires created a relationship with someone. The relationship they each happened to create was vibrationally so similar that as they each began to listen to the call of source, as they listened to their bliss, as they followed the call of source, they showed up in the same place. And when they saw each other, they said, hello. You see what we're getting at?
Absolutely.
So let's turn downstream. So you just talk, and don't try to make it pretty the way you think we want it to be. You just talk about how you feel. In other words, put your boat in the river wherever it is and start rambling. Talk about relationship, your desire for a relationship, focus on relationship and
I have a
talk.
strong desire for relationship. I feel that I do my best work in relationship. I remember what being in relationship was like, and I love that part of my life. And I feel that I move spiritually quicker and easier and have more joy in my
All
life
right,
when
so
I'm in relationship.
all of that sounded really good, but you know what all of it was?
What?
All of it was just, I want, I want, I want, I want. So everything that you said to the universe sounded like, I want it, don't have it, I want it, don't have it, I want it, don't have it. So you were just making your statement of what you want, and you did a good job of that, but we want you all to hear, you don't need to make any more statements of what you want, because you have incrementally created the perfect partner over here, and the universe doesn't need to hear it from you, not even one more time. You don't have to keep explaining it. And when you keep explaining it from the place of feeling like you don't have it, you turn upstream every time. It's like someone who's sick who says, I'm going to find a healing. And every time they say, I'm going to heal myself, they look right at the disease and turn upstream.
Yes.
It's a big difference between healing, which is upstream, and relaxing and letting my well-being in, which is downstream. So it's fine. It's a good place to start. But so now understand that what the process is. So give us an example of a moment in time when you feel particularly strong, the absence of your partner. What would stimulate that feeling within you?
Going to a dinner party where everybody else is coupled up.
So let's say you've done that, and now you've left the party and you're driving home alone, and you've got that lonely feeling in your being, and it isn't so important that you give us the label, but does it feel like despair? Does it feel like loneliness? Does it feel like fear? Does it feel like frustration?
Feels like loneliness.
And loneliness, in terms of this emotional scale, that's a pretty hard feeling emotion. It's right there close to fear. It certainly feels like powerlessness. In other words, it's a strong separation from who you really are. Now, the more you've lived life and the more you've asked for this partner, a car that's going 100 miles an hour and hits a tree is a much bigger problem than a car that's going 5 miles an hour and hits a tree. So as you've lived life, you've got your stream moving really, really fast. So now you've been faced with this, oh, I haven't found someone. So now feel that feeling, and now you've got one intention in mind. And if you can hear this, you will understand the process of deliberate creation. Your work here is not to do something that gets you a partner. Because if you try to do something that gets you a partner, it will just remind you don't have a partner, and you'll turn upstream and go back to Phoenix.
Okay.
So your work here is not to do the work to get yourself a partner. The work here is to try to give yourself some relief right here and now. In other words, you just want to drop the oars. You just want to find any thought that will turn you in the stream.
Yes.
So say something that makes the loneliness softer.
It was wonderful to be in the company of such beautiful relationships.
You're right. That turns you upstream, because that was inflaming what you do want, which only exaggerated your awareness of where you are. Remember, you're not doing it to get the relationship. This is the thing that you keep forgetting, and almost everybody does. You want to do the work so you can get over there fast, and we want you to do the work so you can feel better.
Okay.
A friend said, Abraham, I don't think you ever care if my lover comes. I just think you want me to imagine him so clearly that I don't notice that he's not here.
I'd settle for that.
And we said, that's exactly right. But when you get there, he has to come. So you're lonely. You don't feel any better. Try to find something that feels better. I don't know how this is going to come about, but I am hopeful, because I'm beginning to understand the stream. And I've been banging around long enough that I think I have been very picky about what I want. And that's part of the reason for this delay, perhaps, is that I don't just want any relationship. I won't be satisfied with just any relationship. I'm really wanting this special relationship that life has caused me to identify. And I'm not going to die if I don't find a relationship right away. It's not a life and death thing. And I have other aspects to my life that are compelling and interesting. And while this is a big part of my life and is something that I want, it's not paramount. It's just one facet of what I am. Doesn't that feel better already?
Yes.
And I do like going to dinner parties where I get to see other people. And I do like it aggravating that sense within me that I am looking for someone, because I don't want to lose sight of that. But now I'm understanding the process, and I have to believe that life has caused me to create a wonderful relationship. And if what Abraham says is true, then that larger part of me is over there living that. And I have to believe that there are circumstances and events that are being arranged. And somehow it makes me feel more relaxed to realize that I don't have to get out there and orchestrate it. I think that's the thing about relationships that's been the most awkward. I hate that phony trying to orchestrate everything. And I love the idea that the universe is orchestrating it, that over there is who I am with the person that I really want to be with, and that if I will just get interested in other things that please me, I'll drop the oars and I'll start moving toward it. And I like the idea of not having to make it happen, but just letting it happen. I love the feeling of being able to just softly move little by little while I'm happy living my life in other ways. And I'm feeling sort of hopeful about this now. And anyway, it's not something that I have to do anything about tonight. And I had a good time and I had a good meal. It was lovely to see them all, and I hope they're all fighting. They probably are. They're probably all fighting because they probably didn't wait for the perfect partner. They were in such a hurry to get to somebody that they just coupled up with the first warm body that they could find. And so I like the way I'm playing it a lot better. I love knowing that the universe knows who I am and what I want, and I love knowing that I know who I am and what I want, and I'm perfectly willing to be as patient as I need to be. And I've got a feeling that it's not going to be that long, because I can feel in my belly that I'm closing in on it. And I'm appreciating every relationship that I've ever had. All those relationships that helped me to know, oh boy, I don't want that. I don't want somebody dependent on me. I know I want someone who is self-serving. I know I want someone who stands in a place of knowing who they are. I want somebody who's willing to expand, who will let me expand. I want someone who loves life and who loves the idea of prosperity and who is willing to make a lovely nest. I'm looking so forward to all of that. I'm really eager about what the universe will show to me. And I'm even eager about the possibilities that I might float by. In other words, I don't need to pick the first one that I see. I'm happy that I'm going to be on this journey of getting to meet people and feel how they feel. I'm so looking forward to this path of finding the person that's going to be lovely to be with. And meanwhile, it's going to be really fun collecting data. The worst thing that can happen is that I would spend an evening with someone and clearly know that I don't want something about that, but it would just help me to find more clearly what I do want. And while I do think that my vibrational escrow is fully enough developed that I don't need a lot more relationships in order to identify it, I don't mind having some other relationships or exposure to other people in order to really shore up what I'm wanting. I'm happy that I'm now consciously making the decision that I'm ready, and I will shout to the boundaries of the universe, universe, I think I'm ready. I feel like I'm ready. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm eager. Bring them on.
Amen.
So what has happened here? You took a vibrational journey.
Yes.
You used the power of your mind. You paid attention to the way you felt. You felt what felt better, what felt worse. You just sort of moved yourself into a different vibrational place than you've been relative to this subject. And so now, do you hear the power of that? Your relationship's been over there all bright and shiny, and you just now, for the first time ever, came into vibrational alignment with it. That's all that it takes. Your partner must now come, has to come, can be no other way. It would defy law for it not to happen. So then what happens tomorrow? You say, what was it that Abraham said? I can't. You wake up and you're lonely in your bed again. What was all of that? And we say, you now know what to do. Just remember, your work isn't to find your partner. Your work is to find relief, find relief, find relief, find relief. And your partner must come. And all the money and all the other stuff you want to, we are content.